That's what a March basketball game is supposed to look and feel like, right? It's grind it out, find a way. Not always the prettiest, not always the cleanest, but we told them before. Well, we met 2 days ago, and then before the game, I told them it's straight up toughness game. Toughest team will win. They were tougher than us at their place, and I thought we were tougher than them.
What is it about this matchup? I mean, it's just two games could be coincidence, but what is it about this matchup that has y'all so evenly, such a battle?
Well, I mean, there's history, right? Like anytime there's history, there's layers, and why? It's like none of these guys have really been part of that history, but there's just something about it, right? Like you look throughout sports and you see those matchups that you just say like, it's going to bring out the best in everybody, right? And that's what competition's supposed to be. And we sit in a different spot because we have a bunch of those, right? Like we have a bunch of those. Like if you ask people around, like there's people that would have told me like, well, Richmond's the rival, or George Mason's the rival, well, Dayton's the rival. Like there's a bunch of those, right? And you earn that opportunity, right? Like you earn those types of opportunities where someone's going to throw their best at you, and you got to be ready to respond with yours. And I think it's just that, there's a lot of history, and obviously with Tony playing in that game and, being part of it, I'm sure it gets his team, some extra juice to it as well.
What did you see from Bam and Barry, not just on the court, but I guess emotionally on their senior night?
Yeah, I mean, they responded well. I mean, unfortunately for Barry, the foul trouble kind of got him. I thought his energy was really good to start, and, I would have not expected to look at him only playing 15 minutes, on senior day, especially with the way he was kind of moving and the juice he had, but it happens. But, super proud of both of those guys. Both took a chance on us. Barry, obviously, 2 years ago, coming to Bryant, and Bam coming here. And, they've both been through a lot, and they show up every day. Bam's the voice of the team. He's got that leadership voice, and Barry's really like the heartbeat spirit of the team. And you need that from your older guys. And I'm forever grateful for both, to both of them.
My little sister has a question.
Go ahead. She'll ask a way better question than any of these others. What's your name?
Callie.
Callie? I like that. How old are you? Now I get to ask the question. How old?
Huh?
How old are you?
10.
10? What grade? 5th grade?
Yeah.
Where do you go to school? Okay. All right.
What are your thoughts on the overall game, and how does it feel to avenge the loss from earlier this season?
See, I told you to ask a better question. Again, the game came down to toughness, right? And being a tougher team and making the plays that we needed to make. And obviously didn't start the game the way we wanted to, but found a way to respond and kind of get it back into the rhythm that we wanted. And that's what it takes. And guys stepped up, and we had foul trouble and dealt with things that we haven't dealt with all year long. And it was like, what's the next thing? Who's the next guy? And you get contributions from everybody.
I think they started 8 of 9 from the field. To your
Callie,
point.
is that your last question before Zach? Do you have any other questions? You sure? Do you want to be a reporter one day? No? You walked in this room, saw Jack, and said,
No, thank you.
Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question.
I think they started 8 of 9 from the field. What were the conversations in that time? How'd you guys turn this game? Specifically, what did you flip on the defensive end?
Well, the whole deal was like not to let them score in the paint. And obviously they went right to it. We were too spread out. It started up top, like our ball pressure was not good enough, so we had to turn our ball pressure up. Again, they like to kind of go from A to B to C, run their set, and then throw it in. And we had to disrupt that, and we were not disrupting anything. And then when they threw it in, we were supposed to be crowding the paint, and we were not. We were spread out. So then we kind of adjusted. We were kind of in between. We should have been digging. We went a little more aggressive, like to trap, which was fine because our rotations out were pretty good. And again, we wanted to keep them out of the paint, not let them score in the paint. And we did that early. We scored in the paint, and then we started to stop that a little bit, down the stretch. So.
It seemed like Keyshawn's size alone helped with that as well. Can you just talk about that, and also just his coming up right off the bench and just being so good for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, he's, he's got to battle Lazar every day, right? And there's days he gets the best of them. And, again, like I just said on the radio, like when you have a good team, we have obviously a pretty good team, you're going to have guys that don't play. It just is what it is. We have 13 on the roster, 14 on the roster, one out with an injury, 13 guys in uniform every game. Well, it's really hard to play. It's hard to play 8, really hard to play 9, almost impossible to play 10, 11, 12, 13. It's really hard to do that, when guys are wrong. So with that, you're going to have guys that don't play. And just because you don't play doesn't mean you can't play, right? That's like the misnomer. Like people think like, oh, he doesn't play, he can't play. No, like these dudes can play. There's guys sitting on that bench that don't get in games. Like they can play. We just have other guys that are playing better or more effective or give us a better matchup or whatever it is. So, we talk about being ready. Like you got to stay ready. Every time his number's been called, he's been ready. And obviously I've seen it from him for 2 years prior to this, like what he can be. And when we need him, he's there.
What was the conversation with Lazar at halftime and through his injury, and how did he battle back and make such a big impact in the second half?
I came back in the hallway. They said he's going to try to go. They're finishing up with him now. They're going to try to go. There was no conversation. I said, all right. I asked Jay Wall. I said, we're going to. Should I start him? Should I not? He said, we'll start him, see how he looks. And then it really was just that. Like if he looked like he was hobbling around and couldn't move, then we take him right out. He looked like he was moving all right to me. From there, it was just kind of managing, obviously getting him some break, but also not leaving him on the bench too long where maybe you could stiffen up.
Coach, yourself and Tony stand with very high energy on the sideline. What is that like coaching against the personality of the team?
Honestly, I don't even notice the other coach. Like I'm locked into the game, so whatever. I don't even notice the other coach. Just do our thing. Focus on us. It's about us. Like we have to focus on us and what we can control and what we have to do to go win.
Sorry.
You're in March, everybody's talking about the resumes, the brackets, all that. Do you give your players advice on how you want them to handle exposing themselves to that or absorbing that conversation?
We haven't talked 1 second about it. What we talk about, like we're going to talk about getting number 15 on Friday. That's all we're going to talk about. I'm sure they see it. I'm sure they hear it. I'm sure people want to talk to them about it. But none of that matters. Like it's about winning games, right? And that's what we have to focus on. Anything else we can't control, like all that stuff. And obviously Joe Lenardi's a close friend and all that. Like he's made a great living off of it. I remember him in his office. Like it was a house on campus, and he had. This is before like any of this stuff. He was just doing it on his own. He had like printouts and printouts and printouts. God bless him. He's made an incredible living off of it, and I'm really happy for him and the other guys that do it. But it really doesn't mean anything, right? Like there's 16 people in that room that are going to sit and make those decisions. I don't have any of them on speed dial. They don't call me and ask me my opinion. They don't call any of the players and ask their opinion. So we're locked into. We just got to play the games and do what we have to do and try to go get wins. And whatever happens on that day happens on that day.
Coach, that last play that Terrence hit, is that about how you drew it up, or what was really the plan going into that?
Yeah, we wanted to get him involved. Obviously, get him involved in some sort of mid-ball screen. We screwed it up a little bit. Bam was supposed to come up and goes out of it, and then Lazar was supposed to be right behind because of the way they were kind of guarding, trying to get them caught in a switch and then get him off a ball screen. We were a little bit at the look at it. I think they both came up on different sides when they were kind of supposed to come to the same side. But, wanted the ball in his hands, and it was him getting a shot, or, honestly, I kind of thought Lazar would be open on the roll. Thought if we got that confusion up top, he'd be able to come off, Lazar be open on the roll because it'd be so keyed on Terrence.
How has your confidence in him in clutch time grown over the course of the season?
Yeah, I mean, he's, I think we all are, right? Like, the ball in his hands, and usually something good happens. And what's really key is that, like, it's not just his scoring, right? Like a bunch of these games where it's been his passing, like that play there, I'm thinking like, all right, he can get a shot, great, but like he'll be able to make that pass if Lazar's open at the rim, like he'll be able to make that play. And you know, that's a really big key, because now it can't just be, you know, we've done it to some of these guys recently, like, all right, just get it out of his hands, right? Like, get it out of that guy's hands, make somebody else make the play. Well, you can't do that, because you look out there and it's like, well, Nick's a weapon, Lazar's a weapon, Brandon's a weapon, Bam's a weapon, and Terrence can make those plays, you know, to get those guys. If somebody's open, you know, he'll get them a shot.
Were you a little bit nervous when you saw Lazar go for that fadeaway jumper, or how were you feeling?
Yeah, I wasn't. I mean, he makes that shot though. He does make that shot, but yeah, that wasn't exactly the shot that I had in my mind. Like, hey, well, let's get this shot right here. But again, he's a good player, you know, and he's a confident player, and he should be. Puts in the work. He makes that shot. You know, I give them the freedom to take shots that they work on.
As you wrap up your first home season here, reflections on?
I can't believe how fast it's gone. I mean, I always say that at the end of the year, but I can't believe how fast. Yeah, it's a little bit bittersweet. Like, I'm disappointed that I'm not going to be able to walk in this building again until probably November 2nd, you know, next year. With the fans, obviously, I'll come in the building between now and then. You know, with this place packed, with it loud, with the energy, I had really high expectations, really high, and it exceeded all of it, from the Peppers to, you know, the cheerleaders, the dance team, the facility staff that sets everything up, that does all the, you know, all that behind the scenes work that no one sees, except for Zach on Around the Horn when he's still filming and they're cleaning up behind him. I've noticed you never stop to help them. To all you guys, to, like, you know, the way we're covered, to you know, that fan base is awesome, and I feel really blessed, really blessed. You know, I've been doing this a long time as a coach, like at levels where, you know, like people start to love you because you're good and you get a couple decent crowds, but like to show up, you know, in this building on November, whatever it was, 4th or whatever our first game was, and have this be all the way through and just be like one night after another, and you know, like I said, the Peppers and the crowd and the VCU chants and all that, pretty cool. We need them in Pittsburgh though. A lot of black and gold in Pittsburgh. We need more. We need more. Black and gold is pretty good in Pittsburgh, and we need them there. And I heard we got our own terrible towels given out, so we need our fans there. We need them. I've seen what they can do at the Atlantic 10 tournament. I've been in Brooklyn, obviously against a different team, rooting for a different team, and I've walked in that building and go, man, like look at this fan base, like look at this crowd. You know, that was 75, 80, 85% VCU. And we need that, it's called PPG Paints Arena, like we need that thing. It's black and gold for the Penguins, we need a black and gold for the Rams.
I apologize profusely for jumping ahead. I know you were focused on George Mason, but since Dayton lost here,
Are we going to have a session on next Monday?
Dayton has figured some things out, it seems, since they lost here. Have you had eyes on them these last few games? And just thoughts on your last regular season game? No.
Obviously, I've seen them play. You know, I just watched them against George Mason. You know, again, when I'm watching it, I'm watching the team that we're going to play. My marathon session will start in probably about an hour and a half, maybe an hour if I can get out of here quickly.
How late does that go? The marathon
I
session?
won't sleep tonight. I may take a break. My dad's got to go to the airport like super early. He's got a TV game in Indianapolis, so I may take him to the airport. So that may be my break. May be a like 4 a.m. you know, drive to the airport. But no, I'll you know, tomorrow night will be I'll get some sleep tomorrow night. But it looks like they're playing a little better, moving the ball a little better. You can tell that's been a key for them. Obviously, their pressure and, you know, be a tough game, a really tough environment. Place that ended my Atlantic 10 career. We lost in the semis to Dayton my senior year. So, been there a couple times since. But last A-10 game I was a part of, we lost in the semis to Dayton at Dayton.
So some unfinished business. Thank you, Phil.
Appreciate you guys.
Zach